Now tell me that doesn't feel amazing. Tell me that doesn't feel amazing. Let the pain, let the discomfort direct how you move, how you're holding your body. Change it in accord with the pain. If your foot's becoming tired, move it to the front. Use the opposite muscles. This is what endurance training teaches you. This is what the timed-based measurement benefits are awakened. Because once you have that touchstone of your best time in the 400-meter dash, or the amount of time that you can go without taking in a breath, those tests of which you are conscious and confident then can be analyzed. What am I doing? How am I using my body such that I do it 2% better? I take it 2% off of that time. Well, you think about the flexion of your muscles. You think about the air resistance. You think about how your gaze and your chest positioning can all be aligned to generate even more force. Or you try to figure out how to do the opposite, how to deactivate your body. In order to enable it to endure for as long as it's capable of enduring for. That's not just longevity. If you're doing the things that enable you, will enable you to live as long as possible, that's enriching your now experience. Find these dimensions. Find these lines and vary them. Change them just slightly. Mimic it side to side, down to up, closed to open, and every combination therein. A little bit back, a little bit forward, a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit around. Then put it all together. Smooth it together. That's where respiration comes in. That's where the generation, the release of that air inside in a vibratory way also stimulates far more than we were. That's why growls, that's why happy ohms, that's why crying is a very essential part of the human experience and the fullest, most rich experience. That needs to be educated, needs to be curriculumized. And demonstrated and modeled so that it can be replicated and imitated and then innovated on. We are all innovators. I'm an innovator because I took what I was born into and I've made something. I've thought something. I've felt something. The customization of even how you arrange your keys What pocket do you put your purse? Your wallet? How do you wear your purse? How do you have your bathroom arranged? These are all ways in which you're innovating on the culture into which we were born, because the culture is defined by the products and by the spaces and the design of them. You can have strip mall suburbia, and based on the needs of today, it's perfect. But how can it become even more perfect? How can we balance that with experience in rural America? How can we go reconnect with the animals that have been so instrumental in our survival and the development of civilization? That's advocating for equine therapy, farm therapy. I believe our pets are a substitute for that. Not everybody can have a pet pig or a cow, you know? It's funny that that's what happens in City Slickers. That movie was made in 1993, 92. Everyone should have a goat, or everyone's taxes should be going to pay for a municipal team of goats that chew on the grass, chew the weeds down. And we need to have shepherds who are mimicking Christ. Christ on the cross, Christ with the book of knowledge. You can do that forever. You can read, you can study, you can write forever. And if you're doing it from a position in which you're balanced, in which your musculature can all take a role in resisting the constant, ever-present, relentless force of gravity, setting up some electrical fencing, having a parasol of protection from which you can come out from, can be divine, can be fulfilling. The human mind can transmit the most complex, information-rich meaning through audio, through language, that cannot be consumed by the visual cortex. And vice versa, of course. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. But you have to watch the flock. You have to watch the work that's being done. You're an overseer. They're the ones working. You are working too, but in a different way. There's this great book by Tim Ferriss. Oh, such an insightful, wise person. He's like Joe Rogan. He uses his blog, he uses his relationships to get the tips of the trade and the trade of life. You know, how do we, if we really want to be the best that we can be? And this is one benefit of sports. Sports create an environment in which true pursuit of perfection in all things promotes precision, refinement, and thus optimization. Knowing where you come from in your body is essential to get as far as you can be away from it. To travel as far away from your hometown. Might just be one city over. Then it might be 2 cities. At some point, you're going to go around the world. At some point, you're going to go across the country. and then come back and share what's over there. That's going to the promised land. That's being Moses. That's being Martin Luther King. That's being Jesus. That's being Muhammad. That's being Buddha. To think a thought that's never been conceived. To synthesize ideas and stories that have never been codified, that have never been put into film or onto paper or spoken. Your legs and your feet can go along these meridians too. And they can be equidistant. They can be asymmetrical. But there's always some type of relationship that the body, the core, the breath is responsible for determining and sensing the shape and the dimensions and the distance and the duration of that venture. It's an adventure because you're adding to you. You're doing something new. And your spine is going to pop because you're realigning it and you're supporting that which has been compressed. Mm. 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 Even these thrones that are a little bit too tall for us can be used in such a way that they enable us to be balanced from bad technique, from a bad posture. That's also one of the initial stages of understanding. You're doing the opposite. Our hands are always forward. We're always grabbing. They're down. They're clenched, lightly or intensely. We've got to let that go. We've got to release all that tension. We've got to release all of those responsibilities. We've got to bring our hands back. We've got to bring our hands up. Now, what starts that process? Is it the muscles that are running along the spine? Is it the fingertips? Is it the muscles here? Is it the muscles down here? And until we truly, and by doing this truly, that's just focused time on imitating these postures and programmed inhalations and exhalations that are all occurring in accord with dimensions that we can measure. At angles that we can measure and document. Just like we can measure the time and duration of experience. And it comes from preparation, it goes from anticipation, and it goes from the continuum